So, you want to say it first?
Yeah, but
Cheek.
that was very delayed. But you know what? I'm okay with that.
Try it. Let's try it again.
Okay, but
Cheek.
That's actually probably how.
Let's just do the clap. Jesus Christ, it's rough.
I don't know, but the problem is there's like a lag between it. You know what I mean? So, okay, fuck it. Let's just do the clap. Big old clap. We're gonna give him the big clap.
After 1.
All
so
right.
It'll be 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
See, I sounded delayed.
See, you know what? I'm just gonna put your voice just slightly after mine when I say butt cheek and hope that it lines up. And we're just gonna go with that. Yeah, we're just. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the amazing podcast, the RGP, as we call it. Hope you all enjoyed that sexy intro made by Twee, I think, is how you pronounce the name. They did some awesome work on that music.
Their name right now.
I was humming it all day, so thanks again. So Alex, last night we talked about a lot of stuff, but unfortunately, I was the only one recording, so we lost about an hour.
You cut out big time for me. I didn't even get to hear a single thing you said.
Oh, I essentially just said that last time when we recorded last night, we lost everything. Because Alex didn't record. Because last time in the first video we had audio issues because Discord limits this. So right now we're trying to record 2 different things. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully I'll line it up correctly and we can get it all figured out. Yeah, it's no worries.
No worries.
So either way, the highlights of what you all missed isn't anything like super, super crazy, but we were talking about video game movies, the good ones, the bad ones, the okay ones, and let's just say we talked a lot about, Street Fighter and Mario and Silent Hill, the Resident Evil movies, Alone in the Dark, Double Dragon.
Yeah, so if you really want us to talk about this subject again, let us know. And we'll be happy to oblige after a brief resting period from the loss of the last one.
Rest in peace. Alex was really upset about it, I
was genuinely upset about it.
I could feel his soul getting crushed as soon as he was like, wait a minute, I was supposed to be recording? What?
Yep.
And then the whole time we were playing Second Extinction, getting our asses destroyed by some raptors, Alex was just hitting himself, like palming his forehead. I could hear it over the mic. It was like, I'm like, Alex, dude, stop. You're going to have brain damage.
Genuinely upset about losing all that.
Yeah.
But today,
it's a different day.
We're going to really delve into the game industry as a whole, how it's changed, how the community is different, how the companies are run different than what they used to.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start?
Dude, that's a big ass topic. I guess we should start with our experience in games first, so that we have at least some credibility to why we're even talking about this shit in the first place. Now, I don't know. Do you want to go first, or do you want me?
Yeah. I'll go first.
All right.
So I have a bachelor's degree in game design, game development, all that, with a strong focus on 3D environmental assets, either hard modeled or organic. Level design, UI design, all around just gameplay design. And I've studied under a lot of working professionals. And I've done a lot of research on the game industry as a whole. I've been studying game design since high school. So I have a decent amount of experience outside of game companies, but I have spoken to just a decent amount of people from the game industry who are currently working there or were working there and have chosen a different path. Now you go.
Well, I don't have a bachelor's degree in video game design, unfortunately. But what I do have is decades of, well, at least 2 decades of me having just played so many games. Like, starting off playing, like, Pokemon Coliseum, I'm pretty sure was my very first game. and I still have not played it since the day I first played it back when I was like 4 or 5. So, yeah, no, every game beyond that has definitely helped shape me into the gamer that you see nowadays. And I gotta say, high school is definitely where I started to get a lot more varied, I'll say, and a lot more interested in it as like a career path. One day I'll put that game out, but I think that throughout it all, I've learned a lot about like the company aspect of things and the business aspect and a whole bunch of other shit like that. And I think it's a very interesting industry, but I also think that it's not really limited by a lot unless you plan on getting a job somewhere at like a big, studio company, in which case, there's a lot of restrictions, there's a lot of shit that goes down.
Oh yeah,
and
big time.
That's why I prefer. I think that indie
not
is going to
only
be
restrictions, but also lawsuits and all kinds of stuff you have to worry about.
Yeah,
and I agree. Indie seems to be the way to go.
Indie seems like the most free way about going about game design. The only unfortunate part, however,
double A is like the farthest I would go.
Yeah, I mean there are certain AAA games that are really good. Like especially Sony's keeping up that. I just don't think that they have the best interest for some of the series in mind, but because they got rid of a lot. Like Killzone was a really cool series. You know what I mean?
Such a good series, and the one they released for PS4, Shadowfall.
Mm-hmm.
That game was fun.
I didn't play that one, but
it was
I played
very
like
pretty. It was
first
very
3.
pretty, and it played very smooth, and it was a lot of fun. They're like, all right, so we have this Almost Dead series from PS3. How do we reawaken it? And they brought in like just everything that made Killzone so badass.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? We're gonna fucking top it off with some exosuits. Not like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare exosuits. No. Like shit that you actually have to like strap yourself into, and just for a short bit in levels. You have weapons that transform, like an assault rifle that extends its own barrel and just projects its own fucking sniper scope and turns into a sniper. It's wild. It was really, really cool. Very creative.
I actually did not know that. That's pretty dope.
Oh yeah, it was insane. And the multiplayer was really fun too. But it died off really fast.
Yeah. And that's weird too, because that came out like right when the PS4 dropped, and the PS4 did not have any games when it first came out.
No, it had like 4.
It had remasters and reports. It's essentially the Nintendo Switch. Like the Nintendo Switch, I hate to say it, and many people out there are probably not going to like what I have to say about it, but like most of the games that are on the Nintendo Switch are just games that were remasters, reports, or just like almost every Mario game aside from like Odyssey and like obviously the party games and shit like that are literally just like they're all rehashes of something that's already been done, and it's kind of sad.
Like look at Legend of Zelda. Like first of all, Breath of the Wild was released on Wii U.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
So it wasn't like a special thing for the Switch.
Yeah, it came out for both, but even still, it's like I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I say originally for the Wii U. I mean, that's where most people got it, because not everybody had a Switch when it first came out.
That's because it was impossible to get one, and that's a whole other thing.
You say that. I had such an easy time getting it because I just went to Toys R Us back when Toys R Us existed, and nobody went there. I had a choice of 8 different Switches.
It's funny because really? there are a lot of companies that a lot of people just forget about. They're like, I probably won't find. They all go to Walmart, GameStop, the normal ones, the ones you'd assume automatically.
Walmart, GameStop, Target, Best Buy.
Yeah, exactly. So when you see something like hell, even I used to actually get a lot of my games from Kmart when I was younger, back when that was still around.
I've never been to a Kmart.
Well, and you never will, buddy, because they're all closed.
You remember Radio Shack?
I do actually remember Radio Shack.
You remember Circuit City?
I didn't have a Circuit City where I was living.
See, we had a Circuit City. We got a Samsung TV there ages ago. And we only like up to 2 years ago retired that TV. It lasted forever. It was fantastic.
Actually, I out of all the TVs that I've owned, I don't think any of them have ever really died on me. Like, I don't think I've ever used any screen for that long of a time, which makes no sense by the time I get an upgrade.
Yeah, to kill it, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I actually recently, like a couple months ago, dropped a sword on one of my LG TVs, and it's still alive. So,
God damn it. That's because you have
yeah.
too many fucking swords, you ass.
Don't worry about it. And you know which one actually dropped on it? The fucking heaviest one I have.
The Red Queen.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
It's not the Red Queen.
Rebellion, sorry.
The Rebellion. Yeah. Dante's sword.
Dante's sword hurts, by the way. I don't know why he uses it. That thing is stupid. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
let me swipe you
will
and
stab
stab
you.
myself in the process, because that's what you're gonna be doing. I
The
fucking cut my
sharper
arm.
than the blade.
It is. It's like, god damn, you guys dulled the blade at least. I mean, yeah, the point's fucking sharp, so you know that goes into somebody. They're dead, but fuck, man, I'm gonna tear up my arm.
That sword dropped on my TV. Like, just swipe the screen, and there's like maybe 5 dead pixels on it, and it's still going strong.
Hey.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So it probably doesn't take away too much from the screen.
No.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm letting my roommates use that TV, so fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't have to look at the dead pixels.
I don't think that in terms of like companies, I at least admire Nintendo for them always trying to kind of like do different things. I think like how they try to push new ideas. Like when the Switch was initially announced, I was like, holy shit, that's actually pretty cool.
Oh, dude, there is no company that switch up controllers or just any type of interactivity other than Nintendo.
Yeah.
They go all over the place looking for the best fit for like fully just body engagement, just full body engagement in their consoles.
Yeah.
They tried real hard with the Wii.
They really
didn't
did.
pan out.
Those poor guys. They were like, they had the adverts where it was like the random 2 Japanese dudes getting in like a little small cube car coming to your house with a Wii and be like, I don't know who you are, but that looks kind of cool. Let's play games.
Yeah, I thought I liked them. I like those little fun commercials because they were ridiculous.
They were fun. Do you remember like the E3 with like Reggie, where they were doing like I don't know if it was like for Smash, but it was like really weird effects where like their hands were moving really fast like an anime, but their faces were just like they were just normal faces, like they weren't and it was like Satoru
I remember
Iwata,
when the world was freaking out over the Wiis, and the Wiis sold very, very well.
Oh, those were impossible
really
to find, like for me, anywhere. Like we couldn't find those things anywhere, dude. It was ridiculous.
And I think that's a good point to start off with. I am incredibly frustrated with just the very little production of next gen consoles when they're released.
Yeah.
I understand COVID out there makes things difficult, but
this isn't the first
it was
time.
discovered recently that was bullshit. It was a farce. They were using it as an excuse.
Yeah, they had a chip shortage. I know that, which is why.
Yeah, and one of their chip factories is in Florida. Which is a state that's fucking open.
Yeah.
They don't have a mandatory mask law. Like they have everything open. Like the factories are running.
Yeah, from what I gained,
got a Series X, and it took months of me having just like 2 or 3 apps on my phone that's constantly tracking when they were going to be available in a store. Blah blah blah, and I ended up buying an extra one off of a friend. Luckily, I didn't get scalper's price, but that's another thing I hate. I really fucking hate scalpers that would like go out and like, let me get like 6 of these consoles because they're available. Yeah. All right, now I'm gonna sell them online for like $2,000.
Yeah, actually, there's where I work currently. There was a guy who used to work there with us. I don't even remember what his name is, not like I would say it, but this guy, like, I didn't even know him like that, I didn't know him very well, but this guy, like, he was a seasonal hire, so, like, after December, he was gone, like, so January starting off. Now, COVID's already been in full swing at this point, but this dude literally took off time for work, and then whenever the PlayStation 5 dropped, this dude was on his shit. Like, he was there, he got it, and he's been making a living off of just scalping anything and everything. And for the longest time, like I was wanting to get a PS5 and I tried the Walmart, it didn't work. I tried a couple GameStop. I even went to GameStop physically when they were doing like in-store pre-orders and they only had 5 per store. So I'm in line, I'm like number 13 and I'm just thinking like, well, you guys could have told us this to begin with instead of like It's just
thing that really
ridiculous.
frustrates me is they make it so scarce like that.
Yeah.
And then they advertise it like, get yours today. Yeah, I would if I could, asshole.
They have.
Yeah,
They're like,
get yours today. Why don't you shut the fuck
they're
up
dropping
and
PS5.
make them more possible to get.
They're dropping PS5 sneakers right now. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Why don't we make with the real shit here?
We don't
not with
want your stupid ass shoes.
Those are some nice sneakers. Do you have the PS5? No. Yeah, I hope, what the fuck, man? Come on, guys.
Some nice sneakers.
And the worst part about that, by the way, is that guy came in and bragged about it. To a guy like myself who has been trying for months. I called him out on it. I'm like, because
you should go fuck yourself.
That was around the time when I was looking for Fire Emblem, and there's a Fire Emblem that's the original essentially, and they ported it or remade it for Nintendo Switch, and it came in this awesome box with an awesome ass art book and a cartridge replica with the box, the original NES box kind of thing. And I had been trying for so many months, and every single time when I got to Nintendo's website, it glitched out, it freaked out. I tried it at Walmart, at Target, and then I finally, one day, was able to get it on Amazon when I had my day off, and it was fucking awesome. I was like, yes, finally, I secured it, I got it. And I had been trying for so many months, but people were taking this $50, and I want to reiterate that, it was $50. They were taking this thing and selling it online for anywhere up to $150 to sometimes $200, and even in certain cases, $300 for this thing. Holy shit. And the worst part is there are people that will actually, just drop that money on that. You know what I mean? That's the crazy thing. There's a supply.
Yeah,
and that's
why they keep doing it, because it works.
Yeah.
Which is fucking frustrating. And you see or hear stories online about people that really do that, and they just keep copying more and more fucking consoles, and they're like, yeah, I'm only selling these for $900 minimum. Then they get fucking mugged. They get beat up. They get their shit stolen, straight out of their apartment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you see the one guy? The one guy that posted a picture of his wall, and against the wall was I don't even know, 20 or 30 PS5s.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, look at what I got. And then literally somebody traced his IP address, I think, or some shit, went to his house and stole everything. And I'm just like,
yep.
I honestly want to feel bad, because it's dude, getting robbed is no fun thing.
I'm not saying they deserve it.
No, but also
I'm saying that I don't fucking care.
Right. It's if you're really going to turn a profit on this shit and sell it to other people who are actually wanting to do this, not just to take it and sell it, because that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. Everybody just wants to play games or have some form of entertainment. And when you limit that, it just kind of it almost turns you off from wanting to do. After I couldn't get it the first 3 times, I was like, fuck it, I don't want a PS5 anymore. I just didn't give a shit, you know what I mean? So it's that's what they're doing out there. And I mean, if more people thought in the same way as I did, instead of thinking they had to have that console, maybe then the scalpers would pay, because they'd be like, shit, I just spent $1,400 buying all this shit, and now nobody's buying my shit. Or maybe more than that. And you just hope that they take the loss, so that when PS5s actually do drop in stores, then it'll be fuck, there's so many now, and I have all these PS5s. What am I going to do with my life? I already spent all the money. It's they could break even if they wanted to, but, well, at that point, what's the point? They'd still have to lower the price, so they'd be taking a loss one way or another. But, yeah, man, that's the problem. Everybody just wants to get a PS5, and then I realized, dude, there's not even anything on it. You're going to be playing the same games you have on PS4 right now.
100% just want PS5 for Dark Souls. No, not Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and the new God of War that's not even out yet.
Yep. Pretty sure it's Ragnarok.
Yeah. And I actually recently just sold all my consoles. I mean, I still have my Switch and Wii U, because you can't really play Nintendo on PC games. I mean, you can, but there's a lot of sketchy shit you have to do to be able to do that.
Yeah. There was a time when I tried to hook my Wii controller up to my phone so I could play Wii games on an emulator. Let's just say it didn't work. Long story short.
I was one of those weirdos that actually got a Series X, and I sold it 2 months later. I just didn't have time.
That makes sense.
Didn't have time to play everything, and I was actually really happy for the guy that I sold it to, because he came up to me. He was talking to me, and he was just super excited. It's it all works. I'm like, yeah, dude. I was playing it not even a week ago. I just don't have time for it anymore. He's like, oh man, hell yeah. Like, what kind of game should I play? I'm like, dude, anything. It all runs at 60 FPS. Like, he was genuinely excited. I'm like, you know what? If it's going to anybody, I'm happy it's going to somebody like him.
Dude, you should have told him to play Drake from the original Xbox. Drake and the 99 Dragons.
It's only play Fable Anniversary. That's it, though.
Only play Sega GT 2002 Racing. It fucking blinks the time cat or fucking... You know, some people actually like that game. I wasn't a big fan of it, but original Xbox had some really cool games, and that's another thing. They had a lot of IPs themselves, and they kind of just dropped them, or maybe they weren't.
Burger King used to give away games.
Oh god, yeah, they did. For the longest time, my name.
I remember getting
Big
a
Bumpin'.
PS2 demo, like a game demo disc.
Demo discs were cool. I liked how they did that, but nowadays it doesn't. You don't need to.
Weirdly enough, that's how I got into the band Korn.
Really?
Was the SSX?
Ooh,
is that what it was called?
Yeah, SSX.
Yeah,
that's a good game.
Yeah,
Snowboarding
dude.
game, right?
And Korn would be playing in it, like while you're fucking snowmobiling around, doing tricks and shit.
Really
and you're like, dude, I'm so into this.
That's a really weird mix, like snowboarding and Korn, just fucking falling
Yeah.
away from me. That's you're like falling down the
Dude,
fucking
like
mountain.
I got into it. It had Dragula by Rob Zombie in it, and I'm like, all right, I'm a fan of this.
Funny enough, his music is in a lot of stuff. Like he's also in a Jet Set Radio, like the one on Dreamcast and shit. His actual. I don't know if they did that.
Jet Set Radio was a sick game.
Yeah, I prefer Future. Radio was timed, and I don't like being timed during my games. It was still fun.
Yeah.
And it was way ahead of its time with the cell shading. Like they did a really good job with that. But I just think like I don't know. Future just did it so much better. It was so much easier to play but it was only on Xbox. It was only on Xbox, so that was the only thing you could play it on.
See, that's I think that's a good segue to another thing, because you know, companies like Sega used to make games that I don't think they focus too much on like, yeah, money, money, money. No, like this is fun, people are really enjoying it, let's make a sequel. They had full plans, full levels, like modeled out and everything for a new Jet Set Radio game, and they just canceled that project because it wasn't a Sonic game.
Yeah,
they think Sonic is their big breadwinner.
It is. I mean,
which it is, unfortunately, but literally, just I don't know, just the fan base was super hype for this Jet Set Radio game. Everybody was so fucking excited because they saw the like pre-alpha fucking gameplay of it, and it looked great. Even though everything was blocked out, not fully textured or modeled out, the movement and everything just got a rise out of the internet.
Well,
like it was good. Just that small amount was enough to get everybody excited, and then they didn't listen to the fan base.
I mean, yeah,
they're like, we don't care. We need Sonic, and that's a big issue that we're facing.
Yeah, the problem is that they're niche markets. It's hard to say, but they're very.
I
niche.
say that we're facing a big issue that we're facing. I mean, like game wise.
Yeah. So it's a pandemic, goddammit. So we're losing the game industry. But yeah, no, I mean, there was like a team of artists, and I want to assume programmers because I'm not sure if it was actually gameplay, if it was just an animation. But they actually did their own sort of. They did a sort of mock-up for like a modern day Jet Set Radio with like modern cell shading, and it looked gorgeous. And they showed it to Sega, and Sega turned them down. They said, no, we're not doing that. And it looked gorgeous. The funny thing is, now we have a game that's actually in development. And this is a good thing about indie gaming too, because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, fuck indie games. But it's like, well, guess what? Indie games are the ones that are actually listening because they're the fans.
They don't.
So they're making their own Jet Set Radio game. They're
making games for the fans by the fans.
Yeah.
And the nice thing, the biggest thing that is so great about indie game companies, they don't have those huge producers or big companies over their head telling them, no, this is how it needs to be.
Yeah.
You have to change it to be this. No, they change it to what they want. They have the freedom to do whatever they want in their game. They don't have those time restraints or restrictions. They still have time restraints, but they're ones that they make themselves.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, especially when you Kickstarter
a good example, I can't remember their name. The developers of Killing Floor 2, God, who made them? Who made it? I don't even remember. Well, these guys, Tripwire Interactive. They're a AA game company. They're an indie game studio, and they've been offered to be bought up and turned into a AAA game company by so many companies, and they keep turning it down.
Yeah,
like they don't want to be a part of that big industry standard. Like it's rough because they know that they'll lose everything they want to make. They'll lose their creativity. It's just gonna go away.
Yeah. What's funny too is like there's a second side of that too.
It kind of saddens me that the game industry became so corporated, but I think that's just how this world is changing.
Yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. Yeah, like movies and even the comic book industry. You know, it's a lot different than it was back when Batman or Superman first came out. How it is today is completely different. You know, so I think like with that too is like there's also the same side of like indie game developers that went out of their way to make something and they kept support for it for a while and they eventually kind of sold out. Now, I don't think there's necessarily a problem with that because, hey, look, if you have something that somebody's willing to offer you millions of dollars for, most likely you're going to take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Like Notch did that with Minecraft. He took the deal from Microsoft and his company Mojang.
He never wanted his game to be this big either.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever expecting that.
No, he wanted this just fun, relaxing game. He thought it was goofy. He thought it was never going to be big. He's like, it's just blocks. I mean, who cares? Like, I'm just glad that I could make something like fun and stupid. And then he sold it for what, 20? It wasn't 20. It was like $11 billion. It was a lot.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was it's a decent amount. You know, it'll get you through a week or two.
He outbid Beyonce for a house, and she was very upset.
Good. That goes to show it's like the music industry isn't as necessarily big as the game industry in certain senses. It's like, besides, who listens to Beyonce anymore?
Yeah, that was I count that as a victory for gamers. Yeah, everywhere.
It's like, dude, this lady is literally married to Jay-Z, who is the richest rapper in the world. Like, yeah, that's he's like, no, I'm cutting you off. That's as much money as I'm gonna. Not like she doesn't have her own money, but it's like if they would have put their money together, most likely they would have had enough to actually buy the damn thing. And Notch was like, nah, man. I'll spend every goddamn dollar I have before I'll let you have this house, Beyonce.
Yeah, like I will buy this place. You will not be able to take it from me. Exactly. I don't think you understand. I don't need that much to continue on like every day, my day to day.
He looks her in the eyes. When I want something, I get what I want. All right. Like,
I have a goddamn candy shop in the middle of my fucking house. What do you have?
I created Minecraft. What'd you create? Single ladies? Get the fuck out of
here. You created single ladies?
Hey, news report. Nobody likes being single. Fuck you, Beyonce.
All right, now
I'm sorry. Was that was a little too close to home? let's backtrack it a little bit.
Just hitting that close.
But yeah, no, I mean, ultimately, it seems like the game industry wasn't originally at one point in time afraid to do and take risks, and I think that was just because, you know, relative to what every like other entertainment.
To be fair, to like a little bit of defense on their side, they didn't have as much to lose.
No, I agree. I think that it was a wild west back then of gaming, and gaming's still fairly new. It's only been around for about since the 70s, so a little
40?
over 40, almost 50 years.
50 years.
So I mean that sounds like a lot.
And it's evolved at an incredibly high rate, faster than most just things. Like it's gotten huge. Like, it's wild to see the numbers of how much the industry, like the game industry, makes. Like not even 10 years ago, it was a multi-million-dollar industry. Now it's like
billions.
A multi-billion-dollar industry, which is wild. Like that type of increase is just insane to think about.
Yeah,
but I don't know. With money comes just corruption and just, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of shit you can get into with that. But,
I think there are certain companies that are doing their best to kind of avoid that. You've got like Supergiant, which has made so many games that are very successful. But they recently made Hades, which did superbly well. I mean, that could just be given the fact that they have an amazing team of talented people working on this game, not to mention they have the Twitter support. And I think Twitter is a very good weapon for any game company, because if you can if you can advertise your game really well and do so well with advertising your game, that's like half the issue of selling your game right there. Because you could drop a game on Steam and it'll be on that like front page under new releases for like, I don't know, like a week maybe, if there are other things coming out. But like, if you have something consistent, it's always going to show up on the feed, like no matter what. You know what I mean? And there are games that are so minimal, games like Undertale and stuff like that, that have made success out of, I wouldn't say simply nothing, because obviously they had to have some kind of backing. I'm pretty sure it started off as a Kickstarter. But yeah, no, those are games that like literally just skyrocketed, and they're not anything like super fancy or anything that hasn't really, I wouldn't say hasn't been done before, but they're new ideas, but not like huge new ideas. They were just something small, but they were subtle enough to be, you know, recognized as something bigger than what we are always so used to. So I think that's really cool. And I want to make a game that is a little bit different myself, but I think that's also the scary thing, is like trying to implement something.
It's hard to come up with originality now that so much stuff has been made.
Yeah, plus,
and not only like originality, but then you got issues with IPs.
Yeah.
Like if you cross something that's slightly similar to one thing, that could be a lawsuit. That could ruin
you put Sky in your name, guess what? Bethesda's coming for your ass. All right, so just be careful. And that is a very true. I'm pretty sure that's a true thing. It was either Bethesda or
Candy Crush wanted to copyright Saga. They wanted to copyright Saga in their name.
Really?
Like, yeah, no, they didn't want anybody else using it because they're like, it's our property.
It's like, that's a comic book too. So
that's a bit of a push.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a push.
They
like,
tried.
You need to relax.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy. I mean, there are some lawsuits that I will say are definitely necessary. Like there was the one for Alien Colonial Marines that went against them, and I actually did a whole report on that. It was like they showed a lot of stuff at E3 saying it was like in game, and that was like one of the last things they showed. For the game.
I actually had a college professor who supposedly like worked on the original concept of that game. I don't know. I'm really thinking that professor was full of shit, because he was also saying that he was working for CD Projekt Red, and I'm like, since when? Like I don't remember you ever saying that until they announced Cyberpunk. Like I don't.
Now he's like, I didn't work on it. I wasn't there. I didn't. I take it back. It wasn't me. Yeah, no.
See, CD Projekt Red, they're an example of a game company that, one, listens to their fans, but I don't know, they kind of got hurt from that, and I'm worried how that's going to affect them in their future, because they might not just listen to fans anymore.
I mean,
because they definitely released the game too early. They wanted to wait. They wanted to make sure everything was okay before they released it, and people were getting pissy with them and force them to release it. And after they released it, they were like, see, we didn't fucking want to. We didn't think it was ready. We wanted more time, but you guys were just being so fucking infuriating. Yeah. So there.
Problem
and
is,
I'm worried that that's going to push them to not listen anymore. Like, a lot of people give EA shit. And I mean, understandably.
Whoa.
Especially what they did with game industries like NCAA or, you know, Battlefield. Just big, just, you know, blockbuster hitting fucking games that are just fantastic and have their series just shit on with one bad game.
I agree.
EA, back in the day, back when the game industry was still new, they were all about originality, creative, anything. If you were a new game company, you would most likely be funded by EA back in the day, because they just wanted the industry to grow. They're like, listen, like, this is a new thing. Like, Nintendo's doing good. You know, we need to represent over here in the US. Like, let's start hitting hard with these games, blah blah blah. Like, are you a new company? Dope. Come here, sign these papers. Done. You're now funded. Oh, you're a new company? Yeah, fucking here's some money. Like, they supported so many companies out there. Like, we definitely wouldn't have games that we have today without EA doing what they did back in the day. But I feel like somewhere along the way they got just, I don't know. I feel like they had something happen to them, like CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk, that just changed them. They're like, you know what, fuck this. We can't keep listening to this. We got to do things our way, or else things aren't going to be coming out like what we need it to.
Yeah, I mean, with that too. I mean, I realize that, you know, one, yeah, they are getting rushed, but like when you implement in like having a fucking dick before you make sure like the game is just, you know, ready. I mean, I'm sure that's not the hardest thing because it's part of the model, but it's also just frustrating as shit because it's
it
like,
was a funny sales pitch, and honestly, it sold people on it because they saw that and they're like, that's hilarious. I mean, look at Rockstar, fucking Red Dead Redemption 2. We have fucking horse testicle physics. Yeah, but your game is still broken. Yeah, but if you go in the snow while riding a horse, his balls will shrink. I don't care. I'd rather the game fucking work.
I mean, I didn't have any issues with the game personally.
I didn't like the game. There wasn't.
I also played first person because I thought that was really cool. But I don't know. The game has a lot of broad scope, and you also have to think like those games are generally like Grand Theft Auto games. Like you play the story, and then it's like, all right, Mod City. It's like Skyrim. You know, you play through the story and do all that shit, and then you move on. But there was so much in Red Dead 2. Plus, there was the realism aspect. It was like, let me traverse this map. Oh, God, this is taking a really long time. I don't know if you could fast travel. I'm pretty sure you could, but I don't know. It just got... There was so much to that game that I couldn't. There's too much. I couldn't do that. And that's another thing. You know, if you got a game...
They're also...
You gotta find that middle balance.
Also trying to start charging more for games, too.
That I understand. I mean, everybody's upset that they're like, oh, $70 for a fucking game. And I'm like, bro, back in like the 90s, they'd sell you Sonic the motherfucking Hedgehog for like $70. Are you fucking serious? Like, and that's a game that you'll lose in the first like 5 minutes and be like, fuck this.
But I tell you what, you know what's not going up in price?
Huh?
The price to stream your own podcast.
I agree.
You know?
The podcast.
The price to record your own podcasts and post it on multiple platforms like, I don't know, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes.
Have you all wanted to make your own podcast, but we're kind of confused on where to go? Well, don't worry. We've got you. With Anchor by Spotify, by the way. That's ANCHOR. You can actually drop your podcast in on your phone and on your laptop. What the hell are they going to do next? I mean, what are they thinking over there? This is crazy, guys.
Dude, and it's completely free.
No
you can download
way.
it on your... Dude, free. I'm telling you, it's free. Jeez. You know what? And here's the crazy thing. They can even pay you for just minimum viewership. Like, you don't need a lot of viewers to get paid by these guys who are giving you their service for free.
Agree. That is that. Like, the distribution alone. I mean, I don't know what a fuck, I don't remember. It was like Podcasters or something. I can't remember the website, but it's like, I don't even know what that is. And that's really cool that they would put it, like, outsource it to all these different ones. And it'll even email you, letting you know. And it, like, if you do decide to utilize any of their actual money features, it's as simple. Like, all you have to do is just put in a little information, and next thing you know, boom, you're getting paid when your podcast releases. All you got to do is just drop an ad in there.
Information, like, you can download it for free at anchor.fm. That is ANCHOR.fm. You can get it free.
Or you can download the Anchor app.
It's also on the App Store. You want to take a shit and record a podcast, you know, your innermost, deepest thoughts while you're taking a shit. Pretty
important. Just let's keep that in mind. Your ass might fall asleep during the hour that you're sitting there, but let me tell you, you're gonna be spouting more than just shit from your ass. You're gonna be spouting some words of wisdom. Yeah. Okay. Words.
And you spout these words of wisdom, and you're like, oh no, some of my shit sounds have gotten in this recording. What do I do? Well, don't worry. You can actually have your own creation tools in the app. Like, it's in the app. It's included.
You can edit it.
It's an all-in-one thing.
And you don't just need it on your phone. You can do it on the computer, too, if you don't want to actually use an outside program. Jeez, this app is... I need to get me this app! No, but seriously. Dude, download the free Anchor app.
Seriously.
Or go to anchor.fm.
It's fantastic. Started, y'all. We love it. They're super nice. Hell, even when talking to them, they're very chill people. They're super cool. They're not, corporated like we've been talking about today.
They're not the evil corpos.
4
God
quotes.
dang it.
So one more time, download free the Anchor app, or you can go to the website anchor.fm. That is ANCHOR.FM to get started.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's really weird that that game, and it's funny too because everybody was really excited about it too, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I felt like it was just too broad of a scope. I was like, there's just too much going on.
That's why I stopped watching trailers for it. I didn't want to aboard the hype train. I've been avoiding hype trains for a while. Resident Evil 8, excuse me, that comes out later this week. I've only ever seen one trailer for it, and I haven't watched anything else for it. I try to avoid hype anymore because I've learned that you will often be disappointed, and also it can lead to bad pre-orders. I had the worst pre-order I ever had was fucking No Man's Sky. I pre-ordered that game. I played that day. I played that game night release, and dude, let me tell you, nothing looked like what they advertised. Every time I'd go to a planet, I'd look at some fucking just the ugliest aliens. Like, there's this weird giraffe gargoyle that was kind of floating around with fucking huge mule rear legs and weird fucking tiny baby T-Rex arms just kind of floating around. You're like, what the fuck is that? I saw a brontosaurus in the trailer. I don't see any here. I fell to the hype train on that game, and my friends who pre-ordered it also didn't help either, because they just added to the hype. So I'm just like, fuck, here we go.
Well, you also have to think with that game too. A lot of people were more upset about how big the game was.
False
but there wasn't
advertising.
any multiplayer, and he's like, I never said there was going to be multiplayer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you made Joe goddamn Danger. Now, to a lot of people, that name doesn't mean anything. But to somebody like myself who played games like Fat Princess and Joe Danger on the original PS3, you know what? I gave a shit. I gave 2 shits.
God, Fat Princess.
Yeah, it was fun.
Great.
It was a weird game. But yeah, no, ultimately, guy's company.
That was the other thing.
Really...
They said, you're all in the universe. It's just, you got to find it. There were people that landed on the same exact planet, onto the same exact spot on it, and were standing right in front of each other. Look, nobody was there. They kept lying.
They finally updated and made it multiplayer, but it's like, how many years too late? That game came out in 2015, I think.
Yeah, no, how many years and how many fucking lawsuits too late?
They got away with it, though. You know what I mean? They're still making money off of it.
Yeah, which is so fucking frustrating.
But I think it was an ambitious idea, but that's also the issue with a lot of ambitious ideas. Is like, the scope of them is just too great for something. And I think Cyberpunk, to encapsulate something that is so well known in a universe and has been scattered across pretty much all the early 2000s movies, there's some kind of cyberpunk theme to all of them in some way, shape, or form. Hell, even in the 80s they had that with Blade Runner, Tron, all that shit. They're all cyberpunk style. So it's like, we've been so engrossed in it that when we get a game that was like that, it didn't feel like it. It felt like Far Cry, but bad. That's what it felt like to me. I felt like I was playing a really shitty version of Far Cry, or a really early version of it, because there was free roam and everything was technologically advanced. I say that in quotations, by the way, because I was like, man, these cars don't even fucking fly, and I think that upset me most. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's what was the year? 2077? A lot of people are like, dude, it's only a couple years in the future, bro. They're not going to have flying cars by then. I'm like, motherfucker, they already got flying skateboards in 20
Well, the other idea was set in a separate universe.
Completely. Yeah, and then there was the whole Keanu Reeves, and I thought he was just a side character, but he was actually a main character to the story.
He's the only reason I kept playing.
And then he wasn't even good.
Johnny Silverhand was such a dope
No, he wasn't.
character.
He was so fucking stupid. His dialogue and
he's such a piece of shit. That's why I love him.
It didn't sound good, and then I started realizing something, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash.
Keanu's amazing.
He's not a good actor. He's not a good actor.
He's not a great actor. He's just a very, very great guy. He's genuine. He puts in the work. But his acting skills just,
apparently
aren't there. And I do apologize to anybody that disagrees. He's just
not there, man. Bill and Ted, The Awesome Adventures, apparently he wasn't even himself.
Never watched
it. I didn't either. I'm not really big on those whole stoner cult movies that are just like.
Yeah, it's really stoner
Yeah.
comedy.
I watched Harold and Kumar. I thought those were fun.
Jay and Silent Bob. Harold and Kumar were fantastic. I really enjoyed those.
I mean, I'm sure like by nowadays standards.
I think they surpassed stoner comedy though.
Yeah, they went a little bit deeper.
Like it was definitely in there, but they actually like I don't know, the production quality just seemed better than most stoner comedies.
And then they made a whole show about stoner comedy called Workaholics back on Comedy Central. Which had some funny episodes.
I tried my best.
It had some funny things, but it was just
there's some good stuff in it, but for the most part, that and Trailer Park Boys. A lot of people love Trailer Park Boys, and I
couldn't get into it either myself. I'm like, I mean, I could see kind of why people like the show, but it's also there's so many seasons too. I think that is also a very intimidating. Like, stop making your damn shows so fucking long. If you can tell a story, most people don't need that long to tell a story, and that's what I hate about long shows too. It's like, hey, let me watch Supernatural, and I'll be done by the time I'm dead, maybe. Like,
hold on. Hold on.
Hey, you knew I was gonna jump in on that.
Yeah,
shit.
I knew where it was coming. I knew where
Supernatural
it was coming.
is
big Supernatural
very
fan
long.
here.
Can we at least agree on that? That show's way too long.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. I wouldn't say way too long.
It's got like 9 seasons or something. Maybe 13. I don't even know, bro.
No, it was 50. But
the best episode is when Scooby-Doo is there.
I watched all of it. Dude, the Scooby-Doo episode's dope.
Apparently the only good one. I don't understand, man. I just like, how could you sit there and watch that?
There's a lot of shit that goes down. And you know me, I'm really good at binging.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And I watched all of Supernatural in the span of like 3 months.
Yeah.
Super good. Don't regret a damn thing.
I will say, like, one of the longest shows I think I watched was like Sons of Anarchy. It was an interesting show. But my God, like, I think once I got through that, I was like, okay, you know what? Shorter stories for me from here on out. Like, I enjoyed Breaking Bad. I thought.
You take forever to watch shorter stories.
I know, but that's just because I'm not a binger. I binged a lot when I was younger, and then I started getting into that feeling of like, if I'm not productive working on my own shit that people are binging, then why the fuck should I be binging? You know what I mean? It's more of a guilt trip. It's like if I'm not working on art like 24/7, I'm kicking myself in the ass.
I didn't have. For me to binge watch a TV show, I'd have to like wait until like 1 a.m. and just binge watch that 70s show that's playing on Nick at Night, because that was like the only thing that played back to back. I didn't grow up with like the best internet, so I couldn't stream shows. So once I got the ability to like stream shows, I was on it.
Wait a minute,
just watching every fucking thing.
So you said you never went to Kmart, right? Wow.
That is correct.
Okay, so that means you don't know about the Netflix CDs, then, do you?
No, I knew that's how Netflix started. But
you buy them, you buy them from a Kmart employee. Like, they literally, I remember when they added the Netflix, like, they had a little cart next to the register, and they'd be like, yeah, did you want to try Netflix or whatever? They'd like actually try to sell it to you. It was like a sale thing. And they'd be like, yeah, you want to get Netflix? You can like watch movies, and you can also have things delivered to your house. It's supposed to be the next thing for Blockbuster, pretty much. And then eventually, like, the only way you could get it, by the way, I think you could only put it on your Wii. You had to put it on your Wii. That was like one of the only things that actually had Netflix, I think, at the time. And then eventually they added the app, functionality to other things and stuff.
See,
and
I had Movie Gallery. I always went to Movie Gallery.
I was a Blockbuster guy. We had a Movie Gallery, but Blockbuster was always just like
we didn't have a Blockbuster, so Movie Gallery was.
One day I think we should take a road trip and we should just go to the last Blockbuster.
To the last standing
I would
Blockbuster.
Love that. I would absolutely
Hell
love that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember where it's at.
It'd be weird. You go in there and they have like PS5 games, and you're like, this doesn't.
And it's gonna
make sense.
smell. It's gonna smell like that old movie smell. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great time. And then I'm gonna be like, man, we wasted so much gas for us to just come in here and dick around. And be like, movies.
I don't even have a Blockbuster card. This sucks.
I'm pretty sure I cut mine a long time ago. I was like, before I have to keep looking at like, I don't know, like if there was any comparable situation, it'd be like your console got destroyed or some shit, and you just had the controller left over. That'd be like the extent of that. It was like, I still have the key to the place, but the place no longer exists. And I just can't imagine like why I would ever need to keep that, other than just to be like, yes, I kept it all these years. I have a game from Blockbuster that I kept. It was Dark.
A lot of people do. I've heard a lot of
What
stories.
was it? Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. That's what I have. And I do not regret it.
Oh, Dragon's Dogma. You know, I rented that game from Movie
Really?
Gallery too.
What do you think? Did you ever beat it?
Wasn't into it.
Well, see, a lot of people aren't when they first start it. But I gotta say, once you
Yeah,
get the game,
I couldn't get behind the gameplay.
the gameplay was like the best part. What are you fucking talking about? It was like
That no,
it was
I know
like
it's
better
weird.
Dark Souls, and I'm sorry to say that, but it was like it had like starting off
You
the
watch your
listen.
goddamn
I've played
tongue.
the Dark Souls.
You watch
Okay?
your
It
whore
starts
mouth.
off with like it being like really weird.
You haven't played the
I
Dark
played-
Souls. You have merely dabbled in
I've
it.
Dabbled in literally every single one of them, and I can honestly say
You can dabble in
I
these
might.
nuts.
Okay. But I will say that honestly, from my point of view, this game was a little bit easier to get in. Don't get me wrong. It was not pretty. It was not a very pretty.
Easier to get into. Easier to get into. You
Yeah,
watch
for
your
filthy casuals like me. Who don't feel
you
like,
don't use the word
listen.
easy to
What
describe
which Dark Souls game have you
Souls.
beaten again?
1 and 3.
Did you actually beat 3? I thought you got really close to the end and then you lost your save.
Yeah, and I've replayed that game about 4 times, Kyle.
I
We
thought you
talked
were
about
upset
this.
that you didn't beat it, so you're like, one day I'll go back and
Yeah,
play it.
yeah. I took like a couple month hiatus, and then
No,
I
I
came
didn't-
back
I
and
didn't
like,
know
you know
you
what?
did that,
Let's go
but-
back.
I mean,
And I first tried.
okay, so you haven't even beaten like all of them though. That's the thing. Like,
boss.
did you play?
That's because the second one doesn't
a
count.
lot of people love the second one, so now you're probably
I don't know
upsetting
why.
a lot of other people.
It's not.
out there.
It's not even made. It's not even good.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Yeah. No. From Software didn't even work on Dark Souls 2, and that's why it was such shit. Dark Souls 2 is shit, and I will
Is it just
stand
because
by
you
it.
couldn't beat it, bud? That's okay if you couldn't.
No, it just didn't. It didn't feel like it's weird. It's hard to describe the feeling of Dark Souls because, like, you know how each game has like a different groove to it, a different feeling when you're playing it. Like Skyrim definitely has a different feel than most games that you ever play. Well, Dark Souls has that fucking weird feeling, that sense of accomplishment. Like after you fucking you kill that piece of shit boss that's been really bothering you, or you get past that area. Dark Souls 2, you're like, I did it. What do I get out of it? Oh, here's some souls. Yeah, but all my shit's broken, so who cares?
Ultimately, I think that if we're getting off, because I don't want to have to debate you on any Dark Souls shit, because you already know my opinion on it.
I will
But
fight you.
I will say that Dragon's
I'll
Dogma
fight you.
was a very fun game,
I'll slap you in
and
the
it's even
nipple.
better because once you beat the game, you're able.
I'm
to
sure
go
it
back
is.
through.
Honestly, like if I replay it now, I'll probably
it's
like it.
it's a lot of
but-
fun. It depends on which class you choose to. If you don't have a fun class, you're just gonna be like. Also, it's also about how many people you recruit. Because if you recruit good people, then you'll never have to worry about having difficulty.
No, I'm not thinking about Dragon's Dogma. I'm thinking of Dragon Age
Oh
Origins.
yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Dragon Age.
Yeah, I couldn't get into Dragon Age
Isn't it like
Origins.
it's kind of
Yeah,
like
I don't think I played
it's kind of
Dragon's
like
Dogma.
Oh, dude, you might like Dragon's Dogma because you can like jump, like you fight all these mythical creatures and shit, and you can like jump on their backs and like stab them in the fucking head and shit. It's almost like Shadow of the Colossus,
yeah.
but like expanded upon without there being like such huge bosses. But there are like hydras that are fucking massive.
That game was. I played that game for the first time like last year, and I gotta say,
I know.
Yeah,
I remember you being like, I don't want to play
was
no
so
boss
nice.
rush game. And then I was like, Alex, let's just sit here one night. And I sat there with you too. I sat there with you, watching you play through most
yeah,
of it.
it was.
And it's just like
fun.
there's so many
It
epic
was
moments, like when you
fun.
jump up and you
It was
grab onto
too
the wings
short.
of the one that like flies at
It
you.
was too
is-
short. That last boss
Yeah, I
pissed me
remember you
off.
saying
I'll
that.
tell you that. Jumping from his fucking hand to his chest, and you're like, "I can't wait to get up here and stab you in the face, you piece of shit."
But yeah, no. And then the end story, like you probably didn't get it because you didn't play Ico.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially,
No.
I won't spoil it for anybody, but they connect. Like the games connect, and it's kind of cool. But yeah, I didn't beat Ico.
It was just-
regret that because fuck that game.
It was so good. It was so
Yeah.
short though.
And that's the sad
Damn
thing
it.
too, because a lot of people are like, if they made another
man,
game with like 14 more,
so
I'd definitely
good.
buy it. And I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I'd do the same because you can only imagine with like the new age style of graphics and then like what they could possibly do with the hardware now. Like those Colossi could be massive, like way bigger than what they were in that. And I think that's the dope part.
Yeah. They could be like, God of War 2 climbing the Titans
Yeah,
and trying to fuck them up.
That Chronos battle was pretty dope.
fucking
yeah, was
Chronos,
dope.
dude. Holy shit.
Yeah, God of War is weird.
Also, poor Chronos.
yeah, that poor guy. He's like, yeah, you
Poor, that
you
poor
beat a bunch of
bastard.
shit up in my back on the first game, and then you came back just to like get something from me, and since I didn't want to give it to you, you cut my damn stomach open and let my fucking intestines leak out. Which back then I was like, I feel like you would heal quicker than that would happen, but I was like, since it's the Blade of Olympus, I guess that's the only reason why his cut was just like, yeah, I'm just open now, fuck it. I'm like, this sword is so tiny in comparison to the cut mark that was made on his stomach that it's just hard to believe that it was even able to get any of his intestines out.
I love how you're.
I'm trying. It just
after you fight a
that always just
Titan.
made no sense to me, and I was just like,
no, that sword wouldn't cut that deep, you know. That's super unrealistic. I hate this game.
I didn't say I hate the game. It was just like, that's so weird that like he cut, and normally the cut would just close back up before, because that's such a tiny sword. But since it was the Blade of Olympus, it just cut him open like all the way. I don't know. Anyway, fuck it. I give up. But yeah, no man, I don't know. What were we talking about before this? Blockbuster. That's what we were talking about.
Well, we are at almost an hour here, so we can cut it.
That's fair. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the podcast today. It has been a big old revelation to me, realizing the many faults.
And I recorded.
We recorded this time. And I know we didn't really touch up on like all the companies, but let's just be honest. There's just so much shit going on in the fucking game industry.
It's hard to cover everything in one episode.
That would take like a whole mini series.
Like if you want to hear more, there's plenty more I could talk about with all that. Like one of which is the reason I'm not trying to work in the game industry
like
anymore.
Crunch, because I heard they got plenty of it.
Oh, Crunch is fucking horrible in AAA companies because they promise way too early a release date for every game. And
then when there's like a unanimous decision, they're like, you know what? Maybe we should push it back a little bit, because.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing that I wouldn't want. I would never want to work in a big company like that, because I feel like I would just be scared. Like I'd be scared of fucking something up and then not being able to fix it or something. You know what I mean?
There's times where they would be working and you'd be like, oh boy, almost time to clock out. Can't wait to go home. And they would literally wheel out cots and be like, so this is your bed for the night. If you need to run home to get some clean clothes and some food, go ahead. But you're staying here. What? Yeah, and if you don't stay, actually, my daughter's graduating. Well, you can go there and watch her graduate, or you can be fired. Or no, you can go and watch her graduate and be fired, or you can stay here and keep your job. Like there's just so much I can get into. There's a lot I can get into with all this. But I'm not going to, because that'll take an entire new episode.
But I agree. I think that it's
of RGP.
Another episode, y'all. Hopefully, there's more to come.
We're gonna try to be more consistent.
Yeah, we're gonna have a list of things that we're gonna talk about and kind of like spin a wheel and
big announcement. If you guys haven't already heard, me and Kyle. And Kylie, we're going to be living together. Right,
so soon you won't have to hear us say butt
that means
cheeks.
more
You won't have to hear
content.
us say butt cheeks to make sure we're synced up.
Yeah, we'll be able to record it in one room.
One room. One love.
Yeah.
And just our deep, sexy voices. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
Candy.
Candy. Cut.
Candy. Surgery. Fucking love that
Yeah,
show.
all right. Take it easy, y'all.
That's a good point to stop. All right. Have a good one, guys.